Today we will discuss about humerus. You see the bones, the features we will discuss. Okay. Okay. Next. অনেকগুলো আচ্ছা এটা আরো নেক্সট অনেকগুলো করো হ্যাঁ বাস প্রিভিয়াস আগেরটা Okay, so this is humerus. Humerus is our bone of the arm. Silence everyone. Don't talk among yourselves. So humerus is the bone of the arm. Okay. It is the longest and strongest bone of the upper limb. Next. Huh. Okay. So what are the parts of the humerus? It has a upper end, shaft and lower end. Head is also included in the upper end. So upper end has head, neck, greater tubercle, lesser tubercle and intertubercular sulcus. Head is rounded, smooth and forms 1/3 of a sphere. Okay, so see this is humerus of right side. I will tell you the side determination. So this part is the upper end of the humerus. It has a head. This rounded portion is the head. Here is the greater tubercle. Small one is the lesser tubercle. And in between the two tubercle, the groove is known as the intertubercular sulcus. Okay. And humerus has 3 types of neck. Just beyond this rounded portion, the constricted part is the anatomical neck. This constricted part between this expanded upper end and the shaft, this part is known as the surgical neck of the humerus. And just 0.5 centimeter above this surgical neck lies the morphological neck. Okay. Morphological neck you cannot see. It is the place of junction between upper epiphysis of upper end and the shaft. Okay. So 3 types of necks are present. So upper end consists of head, neck, greater, lesser tubercle, intertubercular sulcus. Next, head is the rounded, smooth part and forms 1/3 of a sphere. Here, this is the head, rounded, smooth part formed 1/3 of a sphere. Next is the shaft. Shaft is cylindrical in the upper half and triangular in the lower half. See, in the upper half, it is cylindrical. In the lower half, it is triangular in cross section. Next is the lower end. This part is lower end of the humerus. It has a capitulum, trochlea, radial fossa, coronoid fossa, medial epicondyle, lateral epicondyle and olecranon fossa. See here, this is lower end. On the two sides, 2 projections are there. Medial projection is known as medial epicondyle. Lateral projection is known as lateral epicondyle. Okay. And this rounded part on the lateral aspect is known as the capitulum. And this pulley-like structure lying medial to the capitulum, this part is known as the trochlea. And the fossa, 3 fossas are present in the lower end. Just above the capitulum on the anterior aspect, this is radial fossa. And just above the trochlea, this is coronoid fossa. And posteriorly, this deep fossa is known as the olecranon fossa. Why these names are given? See this this is radius. Okay. So this is head of the radius. Head of the radius articulates with the capitulum. Okay. In extended position and in flexed position, margin of the head lodges in this fossa. That's why this fossa is named as radial fossa. Okay. And this is ulna. Ulna has a trochlear notch. This trochlear notch articulates with this trochlea of the humerus. In extended position, this olecranon process, this upward projecting process is olecranon process of ulna. This olecranon process lodges within this olecranon fossa on the posterior aspect of the lower end. And in flexed position, this forward projecting process is coronoid process. This coronoid process lodges in this fossa just above the trochlea. That's why this fossa is named as coronoid fossa. Okay, so two fossas are present anteriorly, radial fossa laterally, coronoid fossa medially, and posteriorly one fossa is present, that is olecranon fossa. Okay, understood? And on the two side, two projections are present, medially medial epicondyle, laterally lateral epicondyle. So these are the presenting parts of the humerus. Next. Okay, see here. This is the head. Here is the lesser tubercle, greater tubercle, intertuberculous sulcus. This is anatomical neck, surgical neck, morphological neck. Head, neck, two tubercles, intertuberculous sulcus included in the upper end. This part is the shaft. Shaft has three borders and three surfaces. We will discuss. And this is lower end. This is anterior view. This is posterior view. Anterior view, you can see this is capitulum, this is trochlea. Above the capitulum, radial fossa. Above the trochlea, coronoid fossa. Here is the medial epicondyle, lateral epicondyle. On the posterior aspect, this is capitulum, trochlea. This deep fossa is the olecranon fossa. This is medial epicondyle, lateral epicondyle. Okay, understood? Next. So, upper end parts of the humerus. Upper end consists of these parts: head, neck, greater tubercle, lesser tubercle, intertuberculous sulcus. Shaft is cylindrical in upper half, triangular in the lower half. Borders are anterior border, medial border, and lateral border. Surfaces are anteromedial surface, anterolateral surface, and posterior surface. Lower end has medial epicondyle, trochlea, capitulum, lateral epicondyle, coronoid fossa, radial fossa, olecranon fossa. Okay. Next. Okay. Now we go to the side determination and anatomical position. Very, very important. So what points you have to remember? Hold the bone vertically in such a way that rounded spheroid head looks upward, medially and backward. Okay. So this is the anatomical position of right humerus. Okay. See, this is the head. Head is rounded, head is directed slightly upward, backward and medially. Okay. And the prominent lesser tubercle faces anteriorly. Here this is lesser tubercle, it is facing anteriorly. Then the prominent medial epicondyle faces opposite to the side of the bone. So this prominent medial epicondyle will be placed medially. This is more prominent than the lateral epicondyle. Okay, understood? So these are the 3 points you have to remember. So this is right humerus and here this is left humerus. See this medial epicondyle more projecting medially, head is directed upward, medially and backward, and this lesser tubercle is projecting forward. Lesser tubercle is medial, greater tubercle is lateral. In between the two tubercle, intertuberculous sulcus. Okay, understood? So this is humerus of right side in my right hand and left humerus of left side in my left hand, and hold the bone vertically like this. Okay. And another important point, this deep fossa, olecranon fossa, you have to place posteriorly. Okay. Okay, next. बस. Okay, so upper end. Up. Now we will discuss individual parts. Okay, and their different attachments. So first is upper end. It has a head, neck, two tubercles, greater and lesser tubercle, and intertubercular sulcus. Head is globular, smooth, forms one-third of a sphere, directed medially backward and upward. So this is the head and covered by hyaline cartilage, and that capsule medially extends about 2 cm on the shaft. Acha, capsule of this shoulder joint. The head takes part in formation of shoulder joint. That capsule of the shoulder joint is attached along the anatomical neck of the humerus, and it extends downward medially 2 cm towards the shaft. Next. Okay, so articulation, head articulates with glenoid cavity of the scapula to form the shoulder joint. You have seen tomorrow like this. Okay, head articulates with scapula to form shoulder joint. Attachment, capsule of shoulder joint. It is attached to the anatomical neck, except that capsule medially extends about 2 cm on the shaft. Next. Okay, see the different necks. Just this is head covered by the articular hyaline cartilage. Just beyond the head, this violet line represents the anatomical neck. Here is the surgical neck between the expanded upper end and the shaft. And just 0.5 cm above surgical neck, this is morphological neck. Surgical neck is related to axillary nerve and anterior posterior circumflexhumeral vessels. So anatomical neck line separating the head from the rest of the bone is called the anatomical neck of the humerus. Next. Next is surgical neck. Surgical neck, this is surgical neck. It is constricted portion. These are asked in your viva in your bones table. How many necks are present? Where it is located? You have to show the necks and tell these things. So surgical neck, why it is surgical neck? Because it is most common site of fracture and important structures are present in relation to this neck. So they get damaged if fracture occurs at this level. So constricted portion of the shaft that lies below the upper expanded part. And what is the relation of surgical neck? Surgical neck is related to axillary nerve and anterior posterior circumflexhumeral vessels. Anterior circumflexhumeral lies anterior to surgical neck, posterior circumflexhumeral lies posterior to the surgical neck, and axillary nerve lies posterior to the surgical neck. Okay, in case of fracture of this surgical neck, axillary nerve and these arteries are damaged. If the axillary nerve is damaged, deltoid muscle is paralyzed. Okay, deltoid muscle was supplied by this axillary nerve. So there will be loss of abduction of the hand, upper arm. Okay, so their abduction is not possible. Main abductor muscle of the shoulder joint is the deltoid. Next is morphological neck. Morphological neck. This is line of fusion between the upper epiphysis and the diaphysis. The green line is the morphological neck. It passes through lower part of the greater and lesser tubercles, and morphological neck lies 0.5 cm above the surgical neck. Okay. So lower part of the greater and lesser tubercle, at this region lies the morphological neck. Okay. Next. Okay. Now we go to the lesser tubercle. Lesser tubercle is small projection that projects forward at the upper end of the humerus. Here, this is the lesser tubercle which is projecting forward. We have read during anatomical position. And what is the attachment? Subscapularis muscle is inserts on the lesser tubercle here. Okay, this is lesser tubercle. Next, next. Okay, next we go to greater tubercle. Greater tubercle is larger elevation on the lateral part of the upper end of humerus. Here, this is larger elevation on the lateral part of upper end of humerus. This is greater tubercle. Greater tubercle has three smooth muscular impressions. These are the three smooth muscular impressions for insertion of three muscles: supraspinatus, infraspinatus and teres minor from above downwards. Upper, middle and lower. Okay, here you can see this is greater tubercle, lesser tubercle, insertion of subscapularis. Here over the greater tubercle, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor. Okay, next. Okay. Okay, so supraspinatus, infraspinatus and teres minor inserts on the upper, middle and lower impressions of the greater tubercle of the humerus respectively. You can remember like this, these four muscles together: SITS, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor and subscapularis. These four muscles were forming the rotator cuff. Yesterday we discussed rotator cuff. These four muscles are together forming the rotator cuff after fusion of the capsule of the shoulder joint. Next. Okay, next we go to intertubercular sulcus or bicipital groove. Intertubercular sulcus lies between greater tubercle and lesser tubercle. So this groove is the intertubercular sulcus here. Okay, so what are the content? Vertical deep groove that separates lesser and greater tubercle anteriorly. Contents are tendon of long head of the biceps brachii, synovial sheath covering the above mentioned tendon, and ascending branch of anterior circumflex humeral artery. So these are the content of the intertubercular sulcus. This is very frequently asked. Okay, content and attachment. Attachment we will discuss. Next. अच्छा आगेरटा करो आरो आगे हाँ see here the contents. This is intertubercular sulcus. Okay, here is the lesser tubercle, here is greater tubercle. This transverse humeral ligament connecting the greater and lesser tubercle. See the content. This is tendon of biceps brachii, long head of biceps brachii. Along with the tendon, one pouch of synovial sheath is covering this tendon. The green one is the synovial sheath, covered with synovial sheath. And see here, this is anterior circumflex humeral vessel. Here is the posterior circumflex humeral vessels. One ascending branch is entering into this intertubercular sulcus. So this tendon, this synovial sheath and this ascending branch of anterior circumflex humeral artery are the contents of the bicipital groove. Understood? Next. Okay. So attachments. Attachments are content of bicipital groove, very frequently asked in your viva. So attachments, teres major inserts on the medial lip. Okay, see here, here is the attachment has been shown. Teres major, it attaches along the medial lip. Pectoralis major along the lateral lip, and in the floor latissimus dorsi. Latissimus dorsi inserts on the floor. All is insertions of muscle. So you can remember like lady between two majors. Lady is latissimus dorsi. Two majors is teres major and pectoralis major. Okay, pectoralis major laterally and teres major medially. Okay, understood? This is the attachment of the bicipital groove. Next. Okay, so features of upper end of humerus: head globular, forms 1/3 of sphere, forms shoulder joint, Anatomical neck separates head from remaining upper end. Next is lesser tubercle, small anterior projection, subscapularis muscle is attached. Greater tubercle, large lateral projection, 3 insertions, upper, middle, lower, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor. Intertubercular sulcus or bicipital groove. Parts are the medial lip, floor, lateral lip. These are the attachments or insertions. Teres major, latissimus dorsi, and pectoralis major. These are the insertions. Contents are tendon of long head of biceps brachii with synovial seal and ascending branch of anterior circumflex humeral artery. Okay, all these you have to tell. Next we go to the shaft. So upper end we have completed. All the parts, their attachments, contents like this. Now we go to the shaft of humerus. Shaft of the humerus is cylindrical in the upper half and triangular in the lower half. Shaft has 3 borders: anterior border, medial border and lateral border. Here you can see the anterior border coming from lateral margin of intertubercular sulcus. Here is the medial border, violet one, coming from medial lip of the intertubercular sulcus up to this medial epicondyle. And here is the lateral border extending up to the lateral epicondyle. So 3 borders, anterior, medial and lateral border, and 3 surfaces, anteromedial, anterolateral and posterior surface. So in between the anterior border and medial border, this surface is anteromedial surface. In between anterior border and lateral border will be the anterolateral surface, and in between the medial border and lateral border there will be the posterior surface. Okay, so these are the 3 borders and 3 surfaces of the shaft of the humerus. Next. Okay. Now we will discuss the borders in details. First is anterior border. Anterior border has 3 parts. Upper part forms the lateral lip of bicipital groove. Here is the anterior border. Lateral lip of bicipital groove. Medial border. Here will be the medial border extending up to this medial epicondyle and above along this medial lip of the bicipital groove. So medial border extends from lesser tubercle to the medial epicondyle. Medial border forms medial lip of intertubercular sulcus in the upper part, and in the lower part it forms medial supracondylar ridge. Here in this part, lower part, it is sharp and forms the medial supracondylar ridge. See here, see this is the anterior border. Here is the anterior border which extends downward at the in between the 2 fossas anteriorly. Then here is the medial border extending up to the medial epicondyle. So this surface is the anteromedial surface, and here is the lateral border extending up to this lateral epicondyle. So in between anterior border and lateral border, this is anterolateral surface, and posteriorly in between the median and lateral border, here is the posterior surface. Okay. Okay, now we go to the attachments. Coracobrachialis insert middle of the medial border here. This is medial border. Middle of this border here is a rough impression for insertion of the coracobrachialis. Next is pronator teres originates from the medial supracondylar ridge here. From here, origin of pronator teres. Next is medial intermuscular septum is attached to the medial supracondylar ridge. Here also the medial intermuscular septum is also attached here. In this picture you see pronator teres is originating here, and along this border medial intermuscular septum is attached, and here is the insertion of the coracobrachialis muscle. Origin you have got in scapula from tip of coracoid process, Insertion is here in the humerus for coracobrachialis. Okay, next. Next is lateral border. Lateral border extends from posterior part of greater tubercle to the lateral epicondyle. This extent you have to tell if the borders and surfaces are asked in your viva. Okay, extent you have to know. So, lateral border extends from posterior part of the greater tubercle to the lateral epicondyle. Upper part of lateral border is indistinct, here it is indistinct. Middle part of lateral border is interrupted by radial groove. There is a groove directed downward and laterally on the posterior surface, that is known as radial groove. I have placed the finger in the radial groove and it contains the radial nerve and profunda brachii vessels. So this groove interrupts this lateral border in the middle part of the shaft, and in the lower part it is sharp, forming the lateral supracondylar ridge. Lower part of lateral border forms lateral supracondylar ridge, and attachment is lateral intermuscular septum is attached in this lateral supracondylar ridge. Next, आगे आगे आरो आगे आरो ना next ना previous आरो previous आरेखना next পরেরটা হ্যাঁ আরো আগে যাও আগে হ্যাঁ বাস এখানে দাঁড়াও Okay, now we have discussed the borders. Now we will discuss the surfaces and their attachments. Anteromedial surface. This is anteromedial surface lies between anterior border and medial border. Latissimus dorsi insert in the floor of the bicipital groove. You have seen attachment of bicipital groove. Brachialis originates from the lower half of anteromedial and anterolateral area. Lower half of anteromedial anterolateral surface, it gives origin to the brachialis muscle. Next, okay, next we go to anterolateral surface. Here in between anterior border and lateral border there is anterolateral surface. In the middle of this surface there is a V-shaped deltoid tuberosity for the insertion of the deltoid muscle. See, deltoid tuberosity, V-shaped muscular impression in the middle of the anterolateral surface. Attachment deltoid insert in this deltoid tuberosity. Brachioradialis and extensor carpi radialis longus originate from the lateral supracondylar ridge and adjacent part of anterolateral area. Here, this sharp part is known as the lateral supracondylar ridge. Upper 1/3 gives attachment to brachioradialis, lower 2/3 to the extensor carpi radialis longus. Okay. Next. Next we go to posterior surface. This is posterior surface lies between the medial border and lateral border. So posterior surface lies between medial and lateral border. There is an oblique ridge placed in the upper part of posterior surface and it runs obliquely downward and laterally. Just above the spiral groove there is a oblique ridge extending downward and laterally. And radial groove or spiral groove. This is very important. You have to show the groove, radial groove, and tell the contents. So radial groove or spiral groove It is a shallow groove in the middle of the posterior surface, runs obliquely, downward and laterally. So this is the location of the radial groove. I am showing it. This is on the posterior surface, in the middle of the shaft, position of the radial groove. Next, attachments on the posterior surface. Lateral head of triceps brachii originates from the oblique ridge on the lateral side of the radial groove. Above the radial groove, there is a oblique ridge. That ridge gives origin to the lateral head of the triceps brachii, and just below the spiral groove, whole area gives origin to the medial head of the triceps brachii. Medial head of triceps brachii originates from the area of posterior surface below the radial groove. Okay. See, this is posterior aspect. Here, this is spiral groove or radial groove. Just above the groove, here is origin of lateral head of triceps, and just below the groove, whole area gives origin to the medial head of the triceps brachii. Okay, understood? So these are the attachment of posterior surface. Next. Next, now what are the contents of the radial groove? Radial nerve and profunda brachii vessel. Very frequently asked, very important. Contents of the radial groove. Next. Okay, so summarization of the shaft. It has borders and surfaces. 3 borders, 3 surfaces. Borders are anterior border, medial border, lateral border. Surfaces are anteromedial surface, anterolateral surface, posterior surface. Medial border, it gives origin to brachialis, medial supracondylar ridge to the pronator teres and medial intermuscular septum. And lateral border, it forms the lateral supracondylar ridge, gives attachment to lateral intermuscular septum. Also the brachioradialis and extensor carpi radialis longus. Here, anteromedial surface, over here one nutrient foramen is present. Nutrient foramen is place of entry of nutrient vessels to the bone. Okay. Here it comes from those profunda brachii vessels, or may come from the brachial artery directly. Okay. Mainly from profunda brachii vessels. So nutrient foramen is present in the anteromedial surface, and anterolateral surface has a V-shaped deltoid tuberosity, brachioradialis and extensor carpi radialis longus. Posterior surface has radial groove containing these two structures, radial nerve, profunda brachii vessels. Oblique ridge above the spiral groove gives origin to lateral head of triceps brachii, and area below the radial groove gives origin to medial head of triceps brachii. All this you have seen in the previous picture. This O means origin, okay, and I means insertions. Next. Agetta. Bas. Okay, next. So we have completed the shaft, border, surface and attachments. Now we go to the lower end. Lower end has a important part that is known as capitulum. This rounded structure is the capitulum. Capitulum in Latin it means little head. Lateral, it is a lateral rounded convex projection. You can see here lateral rounded convex projection. Articulation with head of radius. So it articulates with the head of radius like this. Okay. Next. Okay. Next is trochlea. Trochlea means block of pulley in Latin. Just medial to the capitulum is the trochlea. Medial pulley-shaped articular surface that extends into anterior, inferior and posterior aspects of lower end. Articulation with trochlear notch of the ulna. Okay. Next. Okay. What are the next? We go to the medial epicondyle. This projecting part is the medial epicondyle. So it is a prominent elevation. Then the lateral epicondyle. Ulnar nerve crosses the posterior surface of the medial epicondyle. This is important. On the posterior aspect of the medial epicondyle, ulnar nerve is passing. Okay, we can feel the ulnar nerve here over the elbow. Now, attachments, common flexor tendon from the anterior surface of medial epicondyle. Origin of common flexor muscles of the forearm. Okay, forearm muscles, common flexor origin is over the anterior surface of the medial epicondyle. Here you can see, this is common flexor origin. Okay, over the medial epicondyle. Next, next is lateral epicondyle. The less projecting part here is the lateral epicondyle. It is rough, rounded, lateral bony projection, less prominent than the medial epicondyle. These are the attachments, common extensor muscles. Here you can see common extensor origin. Originate from anterolateral part of the lateral epicondyle. And anconeus originates from the posterior surface of lateral epicondyle. Here, anconeus from the posterior surface of lateral epicondyle. See here, you can say olecranon fossa, so it is posterior aspect. So anconeus attachment is here. Next, now we will discuss the three fossas at the lower end. What are the three fossas? Coronoid fossa, it is shallow depression located anteriorly just above the trochlea. See, just above the trochlea, this is the coronoid fossa. And radial fossa, small depression located anteriorly just above the capitulum. Above the capitulum, it is the radial fossa. And it receives the head of the radius during elbow flexion. Here, this is anterior view, this is posterior view. So, above the capitulum, radial fossa, above the trochlea is the coronoid fossa. Okay, and posteriorly, above the trochlea is the olecranon fossa. So, olecranon fossa is a large, deep depression located posteriorly, just above the trochlea, receives olecranon process of ulna during extension of the elbow joint. Okay, next. Now attachments, capsule of the elbow joint. It is attached to the enclosing coronoid, radial and olecranon fossa, and it is attached medially to the medial margin of trochlea and laterally to the lateral surface of the capitulum. Okay, so these fossas are included within the capsule, but the epicondyles are outside the capsule, attachment of the capsule. Okay. Okay, next. Now, one important projection is present in the anteromedial surface, just or mainly from medial border. 5 cm above this medial epicondyle, there is a projection from this anteromedial surface. This is attached to this medial epicondyle via one ligament that is known as Truther's ligament. Okay, this is sometimes present. This is it is told that it is a remnant of third head of the coracobrachialis. Okay, it is not frequently present, and if present, it encloses this brachial artery and this median nerve between the humerus and this ligament. So, if it is present, there is risk of compression over these two structures. If the opening is not much, so during expansion of the artery, it may be compressed between this ligament and the bone. Okay, next. Okay, so lower end of humerus, it has a capitulum, trochlea and the epicondyles. It is called epicondyles mainly. So capitulum is rounded, lateral projection, articulates with head of radius. Trochlea is fully separate medial projection, articulates with trochlear nerves of ulna, and condyles are medial epicondyle and lateral epicondyle. Medial epicondyle is more prominent, common flexor origin is there. Lateral epicondyle, common extensor origin anterior laterally, and anconeus from the posterior aspect. Fossas are anteriorly two fossa, radial fossa laterally lodges head of radius, coronoid fossa medially lodges the coronoid process of ulna, and posteriorly olecranon fossa, it is deeper fossa lodges the olecranon process of ulna. Okay, so this is the summary of the lower end. Next, these are some important things. Angle of humeral torsion. It is the angle between the long axis of the upper and lower articular surfaces of the humerus. It is about 60 to 70 degree here. This is the long axis. Red one is the long axis of the lower end, and the green one is the long axis of the upper end. If you see the humerus from here like this, two ends will overlap, okay, and it will form this view. So the angle between these two axes, this is about 60 to 70 degree, and this angle is known as angle of humeral torsion. Now supracondylar process, this process 5 centimeter above the medial epicondyle, this is supracondylar process. It is attached to the medial epicondyle via the Struthers ligament. So supracondylar process is small hook-like bony projection from anteromedial aspect of the humerus about 5 centimeter above the medial epicondyle, and it is also called the avian spur. Okay. Next. Now we go to the ossification. Ossification of humerus is very, very important, very frequently asked in your viva. Okay. So ossification. One primary center for the sap appears in the 8th week of intrauterine life. 3 secondary centers for the upper end. One for the head appears at 1 year. One for the greater tubercle appears at 3rd year. One for the lesser tubercle appear by the 5th year. Okay, and these centers fuse with each other to form a single upper end by the 7th year and fuse with the sap by 20th year. Okay, this diagram you remember: head 1 year, greater tubercle 3 year, lesser tubercle 5 year, fuse together to form a single epiphysis by 7 year, fuse with the sap by 20th year. Okay, and primary center for sap 8th week of intrauterine life. And for the lower end, you see centers are appearing for capitulum 2 year, for the trochlea 10th year, for the medial epicondyle 6th year, and for the lateral epicondyle 12th year. Okay, this three together, this center for lateral epicondyle, capitulum and trochlea fuse together to form a single epiphysis by 14th year and fuse with the sap by 16th to 17th year. And this medial epicondyle, this fuses separately with the sap at the age of 18th year. Okay, so all the centers are fused at the lower end by 18 years. You can see here, and at the upper end it fuses at 28th year. So upper end is the growing end of the humerus. Growing end means it fuses later. Okay. Next. Okay, so 4 ossification centers, secondary center for the lower end, one for capitulum and lateral part of trochlea appear by 2nd year, one for medial part of trochlea appears by 10th year, one for lateral epicondyle appears by 12th year, and these centers fuse by 14th year and with the rest of the sap by 16th to 17th year, and one for medial epicondyle appears by the 6th year and fuses with the rest of the bone by 18th year. Okay. Next. Now the clinical aspects. Okay. Clinical aspect comes in your explain why questions. So what are the nerves related to the humerus? 3 nerves are related to the humerus, axillary nerve related around the surgical neck. Radial nerve in the radial groove here. This is axillary nerve related on the surgical neck. This is radial nerve in the radial groove. Here is the ulnar nerve on the posterior surface of medial epicondyle. Posterior to medial epicondyle. Okay. 3 important nerve related to humerus. Next. Now we go to the fracture of the humerus. These are the clinical aspects important for your explain why questions. So, common site of fracture of humerus are surgical neck, shaft and supracondylar region. Surgical neck, shaft, supracondylar region. Fracture of surgical neck may involve the axillary nerve here. Deltoid paralysis will be occurring and loss of abduction. Fracture of medial epicondyle may damage the ulnar nerve here. If ulnar nerve lies posterior to the medial epicondyle, so if fracture occurs, of ulnar nerve. Okay, diagnostic error. Medial epicondyle fuses by the age of 18 years with the rest of the bone. Occasionally, a separate medial epicondyle may be misdiagnosed as fractured humerus. Okay, if you do a X-ray before 18 years, there may be epiphyseal line. Epiphyseal line will appear black in the X-ray. So, it may misdiagnose it as a fracture. Next, that's why you have to know the correct time of fusion of the epiphyseal centers. Next is supracondylar fracture. This comes as a short note or part of a long question. This is very, very important. Supracondylar fracture of the humerus. So, we fracture at the surgical neck and fracture of supracondylar region. These two are very, very important for clinical aspect. So, supracondylar fracture. In supracondylar fracture, the distal segment of humerus may get displaced backward. See here, this is the fracture site. This is distal end is displaced backward and upward. Okay, and there is kinking of this brachial artery and this median nerve. By this fracture end, they will be injured. There will be heavy bleeding. This artery, if this artery is cut and if nerve is damaged, there will be paralysis of the muscles of the forearm, and due to loss of blood supply and nerve supply, the muscle will go to fibrosis and contracture formation will occur. So, Wolfram ischemic contracture occur. It may occur due to occlusion of brachial artery in supracondylar fracture, and it produces permanent flexion contracture of the hand wrist, that is claw hand deformity. Like this, this is claw hand deformity. Okay, and also the forearm muscles will be fibrosed gradually. Avulsion fracture of the greater tubercle of the humerus involves avulsion and torn away of small part of greater tubercle. And type of fracture of shaft of humerus are comminuous fracture. Shaft of humerus fracture is, can also occur this different types of fracture. Spiral, transverse, green stick, compound, oblique, different types of fracture can occur. Another clinical aspect is dislocation of head of humerus. Head of humerus commonly dislocates inferiorly, because superiorly dislocation is prevented by the coracoacromial arch. Coracoacromial arch was formed by the coracoid process, acromion process of the scapula and the coracoacromial ligament. That's why the head is generally dislocates downward. This is also explained my question, why head of the humerus is displaced commonly inferiorly, not superiorly. Okay. Okay, so we have to know the presenting parts. Huh? Ki bolches? So you have to know the presenting parts, side determination and the anatomical position. হ্যাঁ মাসলে ওটা ফিউজ হয়ে যায়, এটা লং হেড এলো, শর্ট হেড উইথ টিপ অফ কোরাকয়েড প্রসেস থেকে এসেছে, দুটো জয়েন করে মাসল বেলি ফর্ম করবে। কিসের কার্টিলেজ বলছিস? ও তো একদম এর সঙ্গে চিটে থাকবে, এর উপরেই থাকবে। টেন্ডন, হ্যাঁ টেন্ডন কাটলে বার্সা থাকবে, হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে। Okay, any queries? So you have to know the presenting parts and the attachments. Humerus is very very important bone, and also ossification of humerus is important. And these explain my question. These are important for theory. Boltzmann ischemic contracture, supracondylar fracture of humerus, like this. Okay, so you will be able to hold it in anatomical position. Most projecting medial epicondyle will be medially placed. So medial lateral is determined. Head will be above and head is directed upward, slightly backward and medially. Okay. So above and down is determined. Now anterior and posterior, this deep olecranon fossa is posteriorly and radial and coronoid fossa anteriorly. Intertubercular sulcus anteriorly. So that's how three direction you have to know. That's how you hold it in anatomical position. So vertically hold it like this. Okay, understood? This will be the anatomical position. So this is right humerus and here is the left humerus. Okay, and see the articulation. Head articulates with the glenoid fossa to form the shoulder joint, and lower end articulates with the head of the radius. Capitulum articulates with head of the radius, and trochlea articulates with the trochlear notch of ulna, like this. And this is olecranon fossa lodging the olecranon process of ulna, coronoid process lodging in coronoid fossa, and head of the radius is lodging in this radial fossa in flex position. Okay, understood? Okay, any queries? Border, anterior border is from this lesser tubercle. Lesser tubercle extending downward up to this line between the two fossa. এই যে rounded এটা is not prominent এখানে, upper part এ prominent নয়, lower part এ prominent. Okay, medial হচ্ছে এখান থেকে, from medial leaf of intertubercular sulcus up to this medial epicondyle. না, lower part of lesser tubercle থেকে medial epicondyle. Okay, lateralটা এইখানে, এই যে হ্যাঁ এর posterior to this greater tubercle থেকে lateral epicondyle. হ্যাঁ, এই যে intertubercular sulcus এর এই যে দুটো লিফ, এটা মিডিয়াল লিফ, এটা ল্যাটারাল, যেটা মিডিয়ালি আছে ওটা মিডিয়াল লিফ, ল্যাটারাল যেটা ল্যাটারাল লিফ, আর মাঝখানেটা ফ্লোর। ঠিক আছে? হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ না, হয়ে গেছে, ওই কোয়েরিগুলো বন্ধ করে দাও, বন্ধ করে দাও। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ বলুন। এই তো এটা লেসার টিউবারকেল, এটা গ্রেটার টিউবারকেল। এটা লেসার, হ্যাঁ এটা লেসার, এটা গ্রেটার। রেডিয়াল যেটা, হ্যাঁ রেডিয়াল ফোসা, ফোসা রেডিয়াল ফোসা, ক্যাপিচুলামের উপরে রেডিয়াল ফোসা, ট্রক্লিয়ার উপরে কোরোনয়েড ফোসা। এটা অলিক্রেনন ফোসা। ও এটা স্পাইরাল গ্রুভ, স্পাইরাল গ্রুভ, রেডিয়াল গ্রুভ আর স্পাইরাল গ্রুভ। ডেল্টয়েড টিউবারসিটি, এই যে ভি শেপের ডেল্টয়েড টিউবারসিটি। এইটা বুঝতে পেরেছো? আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড? হ্যাঁ কিসের বলছিস? স্ক্যাপুলার, আচ্ছা এই যে এটা স্পাইনাস প্রসেস, তার একটা অ্যান্টেরিয়র বর্ডার আছে অ্যাটাচ টু দ্য ডরসাল সারফেস অফ স্ক্যাপুলা। দিস ইজ পোস্টেরিয়র বর্ডার। Posterior border is also known as crest of the spine. It has two lips. Posterior border এরই two lips আছে, upper lip and lower lip. Okay, এই যে এটা upper lip, যেটা উপরে আছে আর যেটা নিচে ওটা lower lip. Okay, and this is lateral border or base of the spine. This is forming spine of glenoid notch, and this is apex. Apex This flat portion is present over the apex. It lies at T3 spinal level, T3 vertebral spine. Okay. Medial lateral border. এই যে acromion, this acromion process, this is medial border, lateral border. এটা acromial angle যেখানে এই lower lip এর সঙ্গে junction হচ্ছে, এটা tip of acromion. আর medial border এই একটা facet আছে oval, articulates with clavicle. Okay. কোনটা? অ্যানাটমিক্যাল পজিশনে ধরতে হবে, যেটা ল্যাটারালি আছে ওটা ল্যাটারাল বর্ডার, যেটা মিডিয়ালি আছে মিডিয়াল বর্ডার, তাহলে এগুলো সবসময় অ্যানাটমিক্যাল পজিশনে ধরে তারপর দেখতে হবে জিনিস।